Okay, let's see. I am live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call today, and we have a scary Halloween theme. 3 hidden fears that your inner child is sabotaging your coaching business with. Welcome, everyone. If you're here live, you can go ahead and say hi to me in the chat. Hello. And also, I'm going to cover these 3 fears that are sabotaging your coaching business first. And then I'm going to take questions in case you have any questions about anything that I'm saying. You can type your questions in the chat anytime while I'm talking, and I will answer them, and I'll take a peek at the comments occasionally. So let me know what you think. So let's just get started. Since it's a Halloween theme, woohoo! I don't know where you are in the world, but if you celebrate Halloween, happy Halloween. And that's why we're having a fun theme today. And it's silly and fun for the inner child. Ooh, it's scary. So, but it's actually true. It's true that these fears that come from your inner child parts are probably running the show, probably keeping you stuck. And doing so under the surface, like in a way that you don't notice. It's like a silent kind of running under it's subconscious, so you don't notice it. And it maybe seems like there's something wrong with you. But there's not. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not a lack of knowledge or skills. It's not a lack of talent or intelligence. It's not that you're not smart enough. It's none of those things. I know you might think it is, but it's just your inner child having fears that make a lot of sense to them because they come from the past, don't make sense to us right now as adults in the present moment, but it makes sense to the inner child. So let's just unpack them here and let's talk about, there's a lot of fears, but we're just going to talk about 3 today. So let's start with number 1 that I have on my list today, which is the fear of making the wrong decision. The fear of making the wrong decision. I have my notes here. The fear of making mistakes is kind of the same thing. So whatever sounds better to you. The fear of making a wrong decision, the fear of making mistakes. Yeah. So this is a big one because if you're a coach or you're trying to get a business started, whether you're a healer or any kind of transformation professional, whether you work online or you work locally, in person, it doesn't really matter. But the truth is that you have to be able to make decisions, right? It's important to be able to make decisions about a lot of things. Some decisions are small and some seem big. But when your inner child doesn't feel safe making decisions because it's real high stakes to them, like the cost of making a mistake is huge because of the past. Maybe in the past, making a mistake was met with punishment of any kind, mental, physical, emotional. Maybe you were shamed, criticized. It was met with a consequence, a very high consequence, according to your inner child. And so now, as an adult, you're just trying to make these simple decisions, which sometimes don't seem like the big deal. Like, what kind of domain should I get? What should I name my domain? Should I just do my name or should I have a business name? It doesn't seem like that's a big deal, but to the inner child, it's like, oh my God, I can't pick the wrong thing. And it seems like a big deal. Or something like, setting your prices, or creating a launch, or writing an email, or just writing a social media post, coming up with a title for your YouTube live, things like that just seem like no big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. Yet you find yourself paralyzed, and you might not realize you're paralyzed because it looks a lot like going into overthinking and overanalyzing and kind of a freeze response where like, okay, I'm going to gather more information. I'm going to take more time. I'm going to research. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think on that for a while. I'm going to look at some more things. I'm going to think on that. And, sometimes that's valid. Okay. Sometimes it's a valid thing. It doesn't always mean that it's your inner child, but it does show up like that. So but the problem is you stay there. You stay there. You just stay stuck. And then that can end up looking like a whole year has passed. And I believe me, I know these are real examples. I'm not just making this up. A whole year has passed since say you graduated from some kind of certification, coaching, EFT, NLP, I don't care what it is, or you were ready to make a change. You graduated, you finished your certification, maybe you intended to quit your job and start a practice. You wanted to create a website. It's a year later and you still haven't done anything. You still haven't done anything in a year. And it feels terrible. It's like, oh my God, it feels terrible, yet there you are stuck. It's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because your inner child is terrified of making a mistake, of making the wrong decision. So here's the thing, you guys. The healing comes from teaching the inner child through reparenting with EFT that it's not dangerous to make mistakes anymore. It's not dangerous to make mistakes anymore. Like it's safe to make mistakes. Mistakes are information. Mistakes help us refine everyone's entitled to a learning process. So when you're doing something new, it's okay to make a mistake. So that's part of healing that particular fear that comes from whatever past experience you have had in your family system or in your school system or wherever it came from. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next fear. Okay. I've got my old-fashioned paper notes here. It's not fancy. Number 2, the fear of success. Okay, this one's really sneaky because it doesn't make sense. Like, what? No, I'm not afraid of success. I want to succeed. I'm ready for success. I want it. That's not scary. Well, it is, because your inner child part is like, you know what? If I shine, if I stand out because I'm successful, then I might lose love. I might lose something because maybe in the past there was someone in the family system. Who knows? It could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be anyone significant who was jealous, someone who felt like that they wanted to be in the superior position. So standing out or shining or succeeding feels dangerous because maybe in that way, me being successful could lead to isolation. So there could be, again, it's all about the punishment. There could be punishment for shining. Maybe someone's going to withdraw their attention. Maybe they're not going to talk to you anymore. Maybe you're worried people will be mad or jealous, not be able to relate to you anymore. Does any of this land for you guys? You can type in the comment if this sounds familiar. So success can equal the fear of isolation or abandonment or losing something, right? So what we do with this is, we have to teach the inner child that expansion doesn't equal abandonment, right? You can grow and expand and shine and succeed at something that you're doing, and you can stay connected. So it's about teaching the inner child that in safe relationships, are the healthy, safe relationships support you being successful. If somebody is threatened by your success, then that's not healthy. And that is not a relationship we want anymore. This is something we have to work with the inner child, is we have to tell the inner child, look, if people are going to be upset with us for being successful and following our dreams and growing and becoming a better person or stepping into our potential, if that upsets someone, do we really want them in our life? No, we don't. We don't want that person in our life. That doesn't make any sense. That's not healthy. So that's the work around that particular fear. We could go really deep into this, but I'm just touching on these real quick today. And let's go on to number 3, a fear of conflict. Right? I know you out there. I know all of you. And you're like, I don't want to make anyone mad. Ooh, right. Don't want to make anybody, I don't want anyone to be upset with me. I don't want to disappoint them. So setting boundaries is hard. Setting boundaries is hard. Saying no to things is really hard, right? Putting boundaries around your time, around your energy, where you're going to show up. Meeting your own needs first, that's pretty scary because that could create conflict. A lot of times when this comes up, I see this happen a lot with clients is that, they've got families, they have children, they have spouses, they have obligations. Maybe they're taking care of parents. There's a lot of things that could be going on. And at the same time, they want to have their own, coaching business. They want to have their own practice or something fulfilling, whatever that is for them. They're afraid to put their own needs first because somebody else in their life is used to them always putting them first. So whether it's just that person's used to it or it's that they demand it, depending on the toxicity of that relationship, it doesn't really matter. But as people who grew up in systems where upsetting others was very dangerous, and you take on the role of the people pleaser, right? Take on the role of the people pleaser, and I've got to keep everything smoothed out. I've got to make sure everybody's happy. I've got to make sure that everyone is regulated. So, putting your own needs first it's not even possible. Like you don't even realize you have needs. You're like, what? What are needs? I don't know what I have needs. Yeah, I haven't even thought of that. So what you have to learn with your inner child, you have to help your inner child understand that conflict is natural and healthy in relationships, and that love can still exist inside conflict. And if you grew up in a family system where conflict became extremely maybe it was very heightened, it could have been screaming, it could have been something physically dangerous, it could have been something very dramatic. And so you may associate conflict with high danger, high stakes danger. And so any amount of conflict is extremely dangerous. And we have to learn through the work of reparenting that conflict is healthy and love can still exist within conflict. And healthy conflict is actually part of healthy relationships. We also have to learn that other people's responses to us are not our responsibility. Yep. Let me say that again. Other people's response to us, like us setting a boundary or having a need, is not our responsibility. So if you have a need and you decide like, this isn't right for me, whatever it is, and then it's something that your spouse or parent or friend or sibling is going to have, or even your client is going to have a response to, because they don't like it. They don't like it. Whatever that response is not your responsibility. This is a really hard lesson to learn. It's a big one. So this is part of reparenting the inner child. This is part of healing the wounded inner child parts and being able to release these fears that stop us from just doing the simple things to get our coaching business going and to make ourselves successful and to be able to have an income, have an impact, feel satisfied, and like I'm serving, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. It's really painful to stay stuck and to stay perpetually procrastinating when like, I know I could help people. I know I could help people, but I'm stuck. I'm just stuck in this procrastination mode. I'm sabotaging my own progress. Again, it's not your fault. The inner child's just scared. Okay. The inner child's just scared. That's all it is. The inner child's trying to protect you. So, all right. Let me get a drink of tea. So the thing, you guys, is that these fears don't just disappear all by themselves. We can't think our way out of it. You can't say enough affirmations to get out of it, although affirmations are very powerful. They are. However, if you haven't addressed the fear underneath, surface, in the subconscious, which equals the inner child, you're not going to be able to add another strategy or an affirmation and shift this. So these things shift when you reparent that part of you that is still scared and feels responsible for everyone else's emotions. When you do the work and you learn to regulate your nervous system and you get your inner adult online, you get your inner adult online, and you really can start to reparent your inner child around this stuff. That's when healing really happens. And this is what I teach inside my program, the Inner Child Revolution, you guys. And I actually have a free masterclass. If any of this resonates with you, I go deeper into this in my free masterclass called the 4-Step Method to Break Toxic Cycles and Become the Coach You're Meant to Be. That's right. I'm putting the link in the chat there so you can grab it. So I'd love to see you. I want you to go and join that free masterclass, because it goes really deep into the stuff, and it's a very transformational masterclass that I know you will enjoy and will be very beneficial for you. So, all right, I think that's all I was going to cover today. I'm looking to see if anyone had any comments or questions here, and I don't see any yet. But if you do have any questions, you can type them in the comments and I will answer. And if any of this resonated for you or lands for you at all, you can also type that in the chat. You can give me a yes or woohoo, or I don't know, yeah, I feel ya. I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's landing. And again, there's nothing wrong with you. We all go through this. It's not that big of a deal, you guys. I know it feels like you're the only one in the world and you're alone, and it's like, oh my God, it's terrible. I'm the only one who's going through this. But no, it's not true, because I have trained and mentored and coached hundreds of people who have gone through the same things. And so you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not some sort of freak. It's not that you're not smart enough. It's not that you don't know enough. It's just these parts of you that need some work. They just need some work in getting your inner adult online. And once you do that, you become unstoppable. That what's on the other side of this is like truly learning to be your own parent, the parent that you needed, getting the parenting you needed when you were a child, showing up for yourself as the adult. It's just phenomenal. I can't even describe what it feels like, other than you become unstoppable. Your potential, you step into someone you never thought you could be. You see other people being it, and you're like, why can't I have that? Why can't I have that? You can have it. You absolutely can. And I'm here to tell you it is possible. All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great, happy Halloween, whatever you're doing today. I hope it's not too scary. I'm going to watch Nightmare Before Christmas. That's one of my favorite Halloween shows. I don't watch horror films, but I do watch Nightmare Before Christmas. And then all the music's playing in my head for like days after that. So that's what happens. But it's worth it. It's a really good movie. Okay. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Love you guys.